Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, welcome. That was a little earlier than I expected. Hello, you just woke me up. It's April 20th. It's, excuse me, a Tuesday, and this is what I sound like today. And chances are my sister Susan sounds the same. Let's find out. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, no, you sound better. That's Bill.
Turns out that's the Green Bay voice. Also, one's failure to understand what time it is a Green Bay thing. I was sitting here laughing, picturing you running around going,
No, actually, I'm sitting very quietly in our parents' old bedroom, and my dog's on the bed, and I'm on the little love seat here, just so you can picture me.
I pictured you there already. Okay.
All right, so that's where I am, and because I don't think I could do the show lying in bed or even sitting up in bed, but that's what you do. I can see that now. So when Susan's on the show, she's in bed, right?
Well, I'm dressed because I've walked my dog. I've done all that stuff.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I am reclining, but in an upright position.
Okay. Well, I don't think I could do it reclining. What is this? I'm seeing an email right now that is referencing yesterday's show and our brother Bill. So I have to read this.
Yeah. Well, why don't you? Is he around?
No, he's somewhere. I think he and Mom are listening, perhaps somewhere else in the house, and Bill said.
And Bill Mom, then is already smiling because we're talking about him. Anyway.
I know, but he said he came upstairs and said, "How do I get, your show live?" He said, "I asked Mom and she didn't know." And I thought, well, right, she never listens to it.
Well, no, she does if I set her up.
Okay, so they might be listening. Anyway, here's what it says, and it's from another Susan in Hempfield. She says, "I'm so sorry I missed yesterday's show. 5 years ago, my daughter worked at NASA Ames, where the world's largest wind tunnel is in California. She was part of a team of engineers loaned to NASA to help work out fluid mechanic calculations and run some tests on Ingenuities." That's the little helicopter that took off from Mars yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about. Okay. So she was part of the calculations and for running tests on Ingenuity's blades and lift. Back then, it was just an interesting thing to mention to friends and family. And yesterday, we opened a bottle of bubbly because all her work turned into that, that extraordinary thing, which most people don't get, that it's extraordinary. But
right,
Bill
right.
did.
Well, it's a helicopter, big deal.
Yeah, Bill did. And here she says, Susan says, Bill expressed mild surprise. This is on another subject, of the fact that Danish sailors found North America, had been lost in history.
The fact that Danish sailors had found North America had been lost in history. Go ahead.
My surprise was that he assumed the ship made it back to Europe. Is your brother naive or an optimist? I always thought that logic was his forte. Bill's going to have to respond to this. I don't even understand what she's talking about.
Well, why wouldn't it have made it back?
I don't know. I'm a little confused. Susan in Hempfield, I'm a little confused.
So, but on another point, that fluid dynamics that's what
your son does.
My son does, yes, and he also works with SpaceX. Not there. He is not their employee, but he gets called in to handle problems for them.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just want to say, Bill, if you're listening, you can pick up the landline and try to explain any confusion about this, okay? So there's that. And now here we are. Did you watch the closing arguments yesterday? No.
I didn't. I read a little bit about them. I watched the trial off and on, and I found it. I just couldn't spend another day sitting there alternately crying or all outraged. So no, I've seen enough of the trial that I read some of the closing arguments, and please, jury, just come back. I don't understand how they can say anything but one thing.
I feel for them. I have to tell you, yesterday when I watched much of it. It was 6 hours. I didn't watch it all, and some of it just got numbingly, yes, been there, done that. We know this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, they have to know, how momentous this is. And that puts such pressure on them.
Yeah, it frankly should be terrifying. If Wayne LaPierre needs to go floating on a sea because he's afraid of a lynch mob with guns, imagine what these jurors feel like. Whatever they decide, there's going to be a hefty percentage of the United States very pissed at them.
I was walking the dog in this neighborhood.
It's an optional sort of decision. Wait a minute. You know what I mean? As if there aren't real rules. And when you're a juror, it's not supposed to be, I'll do what I want. I'll do what the law instructs me to do.
Instructions. Well, the judge, by the way, I want to say, I think has been exemplary. This judge has had total control. He's been very even-handed. It just strikes me as really, really good. But I don't understand. One of the things that the defense did yesterday in closing is it constantly replayed the horror video.
Well, I haven't understood.
And I had not even watched. I had not even gotten ever to the point of watching the whole thing.
Yeah,
I was watching the how they thought that reminding the jurors again and again of the horror, the torturous death of that man would help their case in any way.
Well, if their bottom line argument is that he had no intention of actually hurting him while he sat there like that, I thought that the prosecution did the best job when he said anyone could see that what that was a harmful thing to do. A 9-year-old in the crowd yelled,
"Everybody,
get off him!"
Everybody did. Everybody was saying, "Get off." The paramedic who came by just happened to come by. My God, get off! They all had the exact same reaction.
Yes,
and to show it again, and to show his sort of nonchalance as he never appeared to be worried or concerned about this so-called mob, which amounted to a few people standing around screaming what any human being would scream, which is
"Don't kill him!"
Off. Yeah, stop killing that person. Anyway, I don't know, but you do know that Maxine Waters said something.
Yeah, I do.
Well, this is the judge who I think is a smart cookie. He was appealed to immediately to declare a mistrial.
Well,
and he said, no, not going to. But he did say this, and here's what the judge said. He said to the defense attorney, "I'll give you that Congresswoman Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in this whole trial being overturned." But he was not about to do it.
No, and he said it. He said that also about the shooting, a couple of days ago, just outside Minneapolis, that it might be grounds for an appeal because the jury was not sequestered and knew about it.
Oh, but that's a whole different.
It's a whole different ball of wax. But what he's saying is, yeah, there are proper avenues to take these consequences of my decisions.
So what Waters said, by the way, was we've got to stay in the street and demand justice. And if Chauvin's acquitted, we've got to get more confrontational. Now, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think that has anything to do with anything.
But it's not helpful.
Of course it's not. Maxine frequently isn't helpful. But you know what? If I'm Maxine and I'm a woman of her age at this point, living through what she's living through again and again and again, I might just lose patience myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's hard to understand in any way, sense, or white people get to say whatever they want with no consequences. Clearly,
I want to again quote what the judge said. I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a matter that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial branch and our function. I think if they want to give their opinions, they should do so in a respectful and in a manner that is consistent with their oath to the Constitution, to respect a co-equal branch of government. Their failure to do so is abhorrent, I think, but I don't think it's prejudiced us with additional material that would prejudice this jury. And then he went on to say, anyway, a congresswoman's opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot, which is real.
Which is true. And again, I don't necessarily think that takes into account the whole of the experience of Maxine's life. And I think that that's asking for, that particular person to behave far better than anybody around her has for decades now.
Yeah.
And, the rule, and the last thing I'll say on this is to tell African Americans to respect the rule of law is problematic. And we should be damn grateful they've done as good a job as they've done. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter.
Gee, Suze, you got a burr.
No, I'm serious about that.
I understand.
Whose knee is on whose effing neck?
All right, okay. I hear you. God. So, listen, you want to get upset? You should see the video I just saw. I don't know where it came from. It's a TikTok.
I don't want to get upset. I've just been locked in my house for a week. Okay, go.
Okay, yeah. Well, the video is a police stop of black young men, kids, I can't quite tell the age. They're all on bicycles. And there's about 6 cops and looks like about 3 kids on bikes. And the video picks up with one of them being arrested. And from the back and forth and what's being taught, it seems to me that what the cop is saying to one of them, I told you, I warned you that I think it had to do with your bike had to be registered or your bike has to be, it was some little BS-y thing.
Administrative form.
That no white kid on a bike would ever be stopped for. And it ends with the one kid being handcuffed and put under arrest in a squad car, with the others being told to, back off, or you'll be arrested too. I don't know where it's from, somewhere in this great land of ours, but
well, that's the whole thing with, did you know that people were getting pulled over for having those Christmas tree pine scents hanging off their rearview mirrors?
No.
No. Well, yeah, that's what they're being chased down and
murdered then.
And murdered for.
Or I've often said I didn't have I was driving around with a light out on my car for some time, I think. And of course, never got stopped. And my son, when driving the car, got stopped.
Right.
That's the way that works.
Yep.
And anybody who doesn't understand that white people get a pass over and over and over and over and over again, and all these little piddling, as you said, administrative kind of things that do not have to involve police with guns and people being handcuffed. This needs to stop. It needs to, this should not be something a police officer involves themselves with.
This is the whole point. As long as that Christmas tree is hanging there, they've got probable cause. And then they can, see what else is afoot. If they smell marijuana or they, see evidence of, anything just in sight. So it's probable cause to see what the hell else is going along, and it is the very definition of driving while of color.
Yeah. So let's, as you said, I don't know if you said this.
No. So are you angry now? I mean,
No. I mean, of course, I'm always angry. I just sometimes, it's early for me, and I know. It's belly full of bile yet.
But when the judge that you have just praised as being even-handed and fair, and I agree with you, he's done a fine job of running this particular trial, goes further and starts to admonish people in a way that I think is showing his basic lack of understanding of the experience that I think he should understand by now.
Well, he very well may, but that's just not exactly where he's coming from, his specific. I don't know exactly what you're saying that he said that was, that he dared to question a black congresswoman's ability.
Telling her to have respect for the rule of law.
Well, I think he would have said that to, well, I think you're being a little.
I'm just saying one should take judicial notice of the fact that
because I don't blame him for, we see that this whole idea of co-equal branches of government is starting to tatter.
Well, I understand that he's protecting his turf.
Yeah,
exactly. But what I'm suggesting is that the rule of law has so clearly not been administered fairly, or he wouldn't be presiding over this particular trial.
Bree from Malaysia writes, "Hi, Lynn. I think the jury may come back with guilty for second-degree manslaughter. I can't remember what all the charges are. And I think there will be rioting. And others will be injured. Or worse. I don't know. We'll see. It is a lose-lose situation. And the media will feed off it." Well, okay, I can't disagree with that. I don't know if it's going to be a lose-lose situation. We'll see.
We'll see. Let's see what they decide.
Slowly, more and more white Americans are waking up. Not to get into woke territory, are seeing things that they didn't really see before. And I don't know.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard for most of us not to see quite plainly that we live a different life.
That's right. Yeah, that is right. And so when we get up and sing that old Woody Guthrie, "This land is your land, this land is my land," if you're a black person, you aren't choking on those words? Or
no, I was just choking in general.
Because of my singing?
No, because it's spring. I was actually choking.
Okay. Okay. Well,
because it's spring and it's snowing.
Is it snowing there?
Yeah, it was snowing when I walked the dog.
Oh, well, it's spring. So, wait a minute. I had something. I'm a little less.
Did you peruse the Green Bay Press Gazette for material this morning?
No, I didn't bother. There's nothing in it.
Well,
there's nothing in it.
Sometimes there's interesting stuff in it.
Okay. Well, I did not. I was left to my phone and the internet. But speaking of still staying in Minnesota and looking at, I have been just sort of confused by these protests and the police response to them in the suburb where the air freshener killing happened, right?
Right.
So they apparently have the National Guard. They got the Minnesota Guard. They got the state police. I don't know if they have the National Guard. They have the state police. They have this jurisdiction, that jurisdiction. And these guys are what? It goes without saying. We hear, these terms, flashbangs and this and that. And it just looks like, like warfare every night. Yeah. I'm wondering why. What is
because they learned absolutely nothing from Michael Brown and Ferguson.
Well, and here again with the Chauvin trial happening literally around the corner. What does it take for these police to rethink? To think? It's not even rethink. It's not apparent they're thinking anything. To rethink how they deal with citizens rightfully and sometimes loudly in large groups expressing their rage.
Yeah.
Why do they think that merits them harming those people? And in this one instance of what happened to this CNN producer.
Oh, when they went after the photo for the journalist? Oh, my God.
No, so, yeah. First, they just come for the black protesters. Then they come for the journalists covering the
Well, they were black journalists, let's be clear.
No, this one that I want to talk about was not black, but she was not white. She was of Asian extraction, very, very American, a respected producer at CNN. And she was manhandled and arrested. She had done nothing. She was attempting to follow the orders that the police were screaming.
Right. They were kettling them. They were kettling them, and that's what they do. And then they arrest you when they put you in a position where you can't follow the orders.
You can't. You're stuck.
Yeah. So I'm telling you that they're following the Ferguson playbook, and it's amazing to me.
Well, she was thrown to the ground and arrested and hauled off to jail, where she was searched, where, as she said, some woman stuck her finger down her bra and down her pants and all this kind of stuff. And what was of course, she had done nothing. But in the course of all of this, one of the cops who had her on the ground and was putting handcuffs on her, or those zip ties on her, said to her, "Do you speak English?" Because she's not white.
Right.
Now, for all I know, her people have been in this country longer than whatever the cops
than his people.
Been.
Right.
You don't.
Her people might have built the railroad.
Exactly. So she got, CNN got her out of there after a few hours. But this is why a whole bunch of press organizations have written this long 7-page letter to the governor and detailing all of this stuff that's going on. If the world's eyes are in Minnesota right now, what the hell are police and governmental people doing?
It's like we have to sit the police down and explain to them. I mean, they don't I don't know. No, I don't know. What a stupid thing to say.
Well, you didn't say it. You stopped yourself.
I did.
Although Margaret is in a bilious mood today because all she wrote is "Amen, Susan," but it wasn't that last thing.
I know.
Okay. Jeez. So okay.
Well, this is us just sitting waiting. The years of. I just feel like every day for so long now has been sitting around waiting for something terrible, terrible to happen, and I have not been disappointed, not once.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope you are. I don't think I can handle. I know I can't handle Chauvin.
No, they're going to come back with the guilty of something.
I think so.
Depends on what guilty it is.
Yeah,
it's inconceivable that they would do anything other than that. But it's just a matter of what they find him guilty of. So that part I'm not all that anxious about. But I did build I sent you a picture. I built my Chicago punching bag yesterday.
Yes, I see. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it was harder. It was hard to do.
It was?
It had like thousands of little pieces that you had to bolt together. First you have to fill it up, the base. First you fill the base up, and then you got to stuff that bag, which of course is just big enough to close.
You stuff the bag with what?
Well, it comes half stuffed. It's a series of circle styrofoam and soft pads that go in the bottom.
Okay.
Around a bowl.
You had said that you spent, it seems like this last year we spent all this time just waiting in a state of, anxiety and tension. And the New York Times has a long piece today on saying that yes, that it has been the state that millions of us have felt. Just having trouble getting out of bed, just having, not really wanting, as they put it, muddling through your days. A sense of stagnation, looking at your life through a foggy windshield, and what do you call that? You could say to somebody, "Well, you're depressed," and they'll say, "No, I'm not depressed. I'm just." Well, it turns out there is a psychological term for it, and it's languishing.
Yeah, languishing, biding my time. I was going to say what? Biding your time.
I'm biding my time.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing this for Mike if he's listening, because he just goes berserk if I sing. Languishing. And they say in psychology, if there's a spectrum for one's mental health, in between depression and flourishing, which I guess is what we aim for, to be flourishing. You say flourishing or flourishing?
I say flourishing.
Okay. In between that is this thing called languishing.
Well, there isn't any. I protest. There's got to be something that's normal and not negative in between flourishing and depression. And languishing is not that whole thing.
Okay. But if you've been just generally, feeling. They say languishing is the neglected middle child of mental health. It is the absence of well-being.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree with. I think languishing is probably a pretty good definition of what people that have been totally alone during this period are doing. I mean,
I agree. That's the way I've felt. I mean, I'm just getting through my days. I felt like I wasn't really. I was living, but
you weren't alive.
I didn't feel like I was living my life, right?
Right. And just being having another person in the home with you, it mitigates that somewhat. But then you can still languish with two people in the house, which Mother and I did quite effectively. I don't know.
Languishing.
But at the same time, somebody asked me if, the next time I were in Green Bay, whether I wanted to have lunch. And I, thought, nah, I'm not going anywhere yet. I don't know when that feeling ends. I don't want to go to a restaurant yet. I just don't.
I've been to 2, and I happily go to another. I felt fine doing it. I don't know. Although whatever. I just felt like, damn it, I'm going to a restaurant, okay? And I expected to feel more joy at doing something that I didn't. I have to tell you, I didn't.
You just felt like you were at a restaurant. Well, at least you didn't feel anxious.
No, I can't say I felt anguish.
Anxiety. There we go. Anxiety. There we go. Okay.
Oh, we have a call. I'm sorry.
Thank God. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just saw that. Forgive me. Hello.
Good morning. How are you two doing?
Well, geez, what are you doing? Languishing?
See, that sounds like a languishing.
Yeah, that was definitely. We have a languished caller on the line. Hi.
That's a great word. That's a great word because I couldn't describe myself. It's better than saying depressed.
Yeah, because you're not quite depressed.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe you are, but yeah, languishing is what you've been doing.
Yeah, I've been languishing for about 5 years now, but oh
well. Sorry.
I have a question that does anybody think that this jury should have been sequestered? I mean, for God's sake, of course it's going to get lots of press coverage. I don't want them looking at all the.
Yeah, they're told not to look, and I don't know how you enforce that if they're not sequestered. I don't know. They're sequestered now, but
once they begin deliberations, all juries.
Yeah, but I would have thought that if any jury should be. Yeah, but
let me suggest that.
But it also makes them crazy. Crazy.
There was so much already out there that I don't know what you would hope to accomplish by sequestering. This had been covered. That's why they didn't bother to move the trial. Where are you going to go? Right. Sequestering is to keep them from seeing information that they might not otherwise get presented to them. It was already out there. And if you watch the trial, there was nothing that anybody saw that they...
there were a few little things where the judge didn't... There were some sidebars that if you were watching on TV, you got some information that the jury had been asked to leave the room, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
There was a little bit of that kind of stuff. But, look, no matter what, this verdict will be appealed.
Well, that's what I guess I'm getting at is like, they're going to look at what Maxine Walter's statement and just say, and use every excuse they can to do that.
Because that's what you do.
And that's what's upsetting to me because, he could have taken that away. As wonderful as you said the judge has been, and I'm not saying he has been, I do think that you try to, I would imagine as a judge, you would try to do everything in your power to prevent a mistrial. And by not sequestering them, you're opening that door a little wider. Am I correct in saying that, or am I just completely off base?
You are, but you're also, you have to think, the law does not allow you to just, you have to respect the jurors too. Let's just put it that way. And
now, how long has this been going on? Has it been about 6 weeks with the trial? I'm trying to figure out.
It's not been 6 weeks yet, but it's been several weeks. And
it's been at least 3.
And the first juror gets sequestered, a week longer than all the others. It's just you can't make it so terrible a process to be a juror that a jury comes in aggravated and mad to begin with. So I understand the judge very carefully weighing what one would gain from that process and deciding that it was illusory at best.
Stop and think of those poor people right now. Right now, as we speak, they are in some room, these 12 strangers, and they know the whole world is waiting. And they've got to, I can't imagine. I've never had the experience of being on a jury for anything. And it must be so weighty in a normal situation if you're a serious person. And my heart goes out to them. It does. It really does. Because you don't know what the dynamics are. I keep, flashing on that great movie, 12 Angry Men. You don't know what the dynamics are between this personality and that personality, which will emerge during the negotiations that they have. And who they decide will lead them through it, who's the foreman and who, I don't know.
There's also the possibility that they're going to go right through the evidence and not have any issues at all because they think it's clear.
Oh, well, in our dreams.
Well, if you're talking about the 12 Angry Men, do you think that you can get a group of people, like 12 people, who could actually be swayed? That was Hollywood.
Yeah.
But does that exist anymore?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If they're, as I said, if this jury is,
entrenched.
at least if they're honorable people, yes. And I also think...
And I think the foreman can make a huge difference. It's like any other thing where 12 people have to cooperate. If they have a good leader at the head of the process, it can be a very interesting thing.
If they avoid, going at each other, but just attempt to talk rationally, as opposed to what they have learned from being members of this culture, they could do this. God help them. I know my heart goes out to them. It really does. Listen, Roger, you just got to languish.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: if let's say you got 11 people on board, and then you just got one person who's just said nope, and after and it's what that would be considered a hung jury. Let's say, is there any punishment if one of the jurors says, "Well, we nailed the son of a bitch, but Joe Smith wouldn't go there, and he's the problem here"? Is there any? Are jurors like?
Yeah, they can be held in. They can be held in contempt of court.
Okay, I was curious about that because that would concern me because there's a lot of safety issues, like Lynn was saying. Like I feel bad for them too.
Yeah. No, I think that there's protocol and punishments available for people.
If you believe in it, pray for them. Pray that they will reach a just verdict.
Okay. All right. Well, have a drink and languish.
Goodbye. God almighty. Goodbye.
Bye.
I hope it's coffee.
I don't know. I think take it with a grain of salt is what my guess is. Okay, wait. I'm trying to... Okay, got it. I haven't talked at all. Oh, actually, wait. Let's do this because I find this wondrous. No, I don't. Why did I say that? Let's look at this column that was written by a conservative, what used to be a conservative, the people
like the 1950s kind of conservative.
I gotta tell you, even 1970s, I don't know, Jonas Goldberg. He wrote for the National Review, I think.
Right, he still manages to irritate me, but go ahead.
Okay, but wow. He goes after this loathsome just doesn't rise to the Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this Gosar, and they're already running away from this wonderful idea they had of the America First caucus. And boy, does he
representing Anglo-Saxons everywhere.
Yes, I mean, he says they're just such idiots that first of all they don't even understand that if they want, which is what their thing said, that we were to pattern ourselves after Anglo-Saxon governance. He said, what the hell are they talking about? That was a monarchy. The Anglo-Saxons, those were kings.
Well, they go calling a bill. They were their rule of law was set forth in Nordic sagas, and out of that grew Anglo-Saxon stuff.
Well, he said, the most enduring Anglo-Saxon political institution was monarchy, which was pretty much what was the case everywhere. Bill, you don't want to talk? Bill just walked in. He doesn't want to. So he says this, and I loved it. He talks about them immediately, trying to back away from it when even their own, like Kevin McCarthy, jumped all over him. And he quotes Greene, who said, "The scum and liars in the media are calling me racist by taking something out of context." Oh, yeah, right. And then he says this: ignorance is often the author of cowardice. If Greene and her fellow travelers seriously believed in anything, they would know how to defend their claims. I mean, they back away right away. They don't stand and fight because, as he puts it, they surrender because they cannot defend anything because they really don't understand anything.
They don't know what they're saying.
No, they don't know what they're saying. They are just dealing in the hashtags and the bumper stickers and, trying to do what they know how to do, which is create anxiety and rage and rabble-rouse. And, well, I saw somebody saying, the Republican Party and these guys do not have any principles. They have none. They are simply a I don't know if you call them an organization. They're a fundraising operation.
They're a fundraising
and they raise money off of creating this kind of rage in their base. And it doesn't.
And the whole underpinning is racism. Come on, I mean, there's the overarching. There's only one policy, and the policy is white folks are superior to all else.
Yeah,
that's their only policy.
God Almighty. Well.
And it's just, and we got to stop dressing it up. I mean, they sure as hell aren't dressing it up. So why should we sit around and try and clean it up for them? They are trying to create the Ku Klux Klan party.
Yeah, that is what it is. And they're doing a hell of a job.
And they're doing a real good job because nobody is just calling them who they are.
Well, while Maxine Waters might have been spoken a little, whatever in an incendiary manner, Tucker Carlson, Barbara sends me this last night on his show. He said he accused the media of lynching Chauvin.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that something?
Well, that's what bullies do.
Wow. He might be the most vile. Well, it's hard. You can't in this.
No.
You just can't. You can't even start ranking them. His thing that I never got around to talking about where he's actively now promoting the white replacement theory. He's actually promoting it on his show.
Yep.
Here, let me, for those of you who might have missed it, I will quote what he said. The Democratic, did he really say ick party? The Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. It's true. He says they become, if you call it out, what he's saying is we become hysterical. Every time they import, listen to this, that's us. Every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised.
First of all,
I mean,
it takes years for these people to
become voters, right?
To become citizens.
Exactly.
Second of all, every year a bunch of folks die, and they get replaced with a bunch of folks that turned 18. We got nothing to do with that. That's how the system works. This is just this is what I'm saying. Why are we discussing this? This is pure racism, sold undressed up as pure racism, and it appeals to pure racists. And we should not be dressing it up in any way. That's all it is.
Well, you have Fox News now, just classically now becoming this fascist propaganda.
Yeah.
And it's not news. It is now just full-blown brainwashing, and it has been for some time.
Maybe Dominion can bring them down. Maybe,
I don't think it's going to happen, and they're not going to stop. And it's really frightening. I mean, it's rare. The Anti-Defamation League actually called on
canceling them.
To please stop this. This is we know where this replacement theory stuff and what you guys are trying to do ends. We know where this ends.
Well,
he said you crossed a new threshold when a major news network pretends that this isn't important. This has deadly significance.
What were they chanting in Charlottesville?
The Jews will not replace us. The thing that anyone who knows anytime they start talking replacement, that if you follow the thread back, it's the Jews who control everything are orchestrating this replacement. The Jews that died in Pittsburgh at the Tree of Life massacre were killed because of replacement theory. The guy who shot them specifically targeted that synagogue because it had lifted up the work of an immigrant organization that was helping immigrants in this country. And all he had to see is, here are the Jews, and they're helping these people, these brown people who are going to replace us. And he went in and took care of it. This is exactly how it works. And that you can have Fox News still just doing this night after night after night. I always used to, when I was talking about the First Amendment, I would always add an adjective in front of it. I would say pesky. A pesky First Amendment, because it does allow.
It allows for the speech.
It allows hateful speech. It allows this noxious speech.
Well, and the ACLU will go to the mat to defend it.
Tell me.
Yeah. Costs the ACLU a lot of supporters, but it is the fact that you have to allow speech that you don't
like. Well, because, look, the First Amendment, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, I'm for free speech. as long as whatever's being said
as long as you agree with
I
whatever.
agree with.
Right.
You know, if you really believe in free speech, if you will, as Susan said, go to the mat to protect the speech that you absolutely do not agree with. And I reach a point where when I was asked to serve on the state board of the ACLU, I told the guy, I said, I've been a supporter, but I'm not 100% supporter. There are things that the ACLU does that I just want to tear my hair out. And he said, do you support us like 70% of the time? I said, oh, sure. He said, perfect. Yeah. They realize that. I cannot be as totally fervent about that First Amendment protection as
but first of all, the ACLU doesn't win every time, and second of all, our First Amendment rights are not unfettered, nor should our Second Amendment rights be such. But our First Amendment definitely are not, and that's what Tucker Carlson is running is running up against. Whether he is,
yelling fire,
whether he is getting people murdered with his talk.
Right. Well, it's pretty hard, though, to draw that line. But as I said, you could draw that line from what he's spouting directly to the death of those Jews in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's one line you can draw just from what we know of where that guy, he posted why he did it.
Right.
Why he did it. He was going after those Jews who were helping replace white Americans. Yeah, I don't know. So, let's go to a different kind of carnage that doesn't involve us.
Okay.
Just to make things a little lighter. There was a story that I read today, which really did boil my blood, but I found it interesting because I didn't know anything about this. It has to do, what's that new show that everybody seemingly loves and I haven't even watched? Stanley Tucci on CNN.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. His food show. Yeah.
And this story is, let's say, datelined Rome, but it's from a smaller city up in the north that I'd never heard of. And I'll find it in a little bit. I'm just scrolling around here. Brescia, Brescia. And Italian police were alerted to the fact that there were about 20 people who, in violation of the coronavirus restrictions, were holed up in a government building, a local government building, and doing this cookout. They were eating, and this was not, something you were allowed to do with that many people. So the cops came in, and looking a little closer, they saw that an entire platter had been pushed under the table. As the guests were saying, everything is here within regulations. We have our mask on, we are distancing. But the cops found this large pan. And you know what was in it?
No.
Oh, God.
Dogs?
No. Just a whole ton of fried songbirds.
Ugh.
Some protected species.
Oh, God, what is
some globally threatened. And the guy who was holding the lunch said, a delicacy. Turns out this section of Italy just loves to
fry up some songbirds.
They do. They do. It's where this is in the middle of one of the largest migration routes for finches, thrushes, blackbirds of all kinds. And this is something cultural. For centuries, hunters there have laid traps for these birds, trying to get to their, to their summer or winter grounds. They laid traps in bushes, on tree branches. They shoot them out of the sky. And they end up on a plate next to, a bunch of polenta.
Well,
okay, now wait. It is the most dangerous kill zone for many songbirds. It is figured that hundreds of thousands are hunted and consumed every year in this one little section of Italy. They say 5 million protected birds are shot dead every year, but 1/5 of them are killed along this coastline of northern of Europe and the Caucasus, and this particular place. Who knew? Did you know?
No, I had no idea.
Okay, well, last week they had a hearing for a local man. This is a whole other case in this same place.
Well, what happened to those people?
Well, they got arrested, but I don't know yet. So that story's still breaking. A local man they found 788 dead songbirds in his freezer. Robins are sold illegally for €3 to €5 to restaurants. And listen to this. The robins are appreciated especially for their thin bills, which are considered edible. They like crunching on the bills. Who ever heard of this?
Well, people eat different things in different parts of the world,
These are
people in India are horrified that we eat cows.
I know, but there is a crisis, as we know, of these animals are disappearing left and right. And these are many of the birds that they found. Some were called bramblings. That is a totally endangered bird. Jeez. And the guy who was arrested, this was his party, he said, I am saving a Brescian tradition. I did it in the name of the Brescian spit, which is a typical dish made of skewered slices of pork, chicken, rabbit, and songbirds. And a particular finch, the chaffinch, with its distinctive tart taste, which this guy said I had not savored for 10 years. I want to kill these people and stick them on a spit. I do. And the only thing that he said he was sorry for, I am sorry, he said, that I have offended all of the restaurant owners because we did this, we should have helped them stay open. And we did this ourselves. And then he says, I just don't understand this. Chickens are birds.
Well, he's got a point.
No, but they're raised specifically to be eaten. Poor chickens. can you imagine this table laden with all these beautiful, beautiful birds fried? I wonder if Stanley Tucci will do a little piece on that.
Nah, that's not what he does.
What does he do?
I think he eats stuff.
Well, yeah. So why doesn't he go and eat that?
Because maybe he shares your horror. What do you want to go and eat the songbirds? I don't understand your train of thought. Okay.
All right. Well, all right. All right. I think we're out of time.
Okay. Well, enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Enjoy the snow.
Yeah. You aren't going to get any? I guess
I don't
not.
think so.
Oh, nice.
So. They said there might be a flurry or two, and it is chilly, to say the least, but no.
It'll warm up again in a couple of days.
Yeah. Because I know Pittsburgh is heading into some, well, whatever I got going
here, the system is heading over there, right? Right.
It is cold.
It's pretty much south of us too. I mean, so the heavy snow is, as it has been all winter, is going to be further south.
It's weird, huh?
Yeah, weird.
A global warming for you. Okay.
We're
done. Thanks, Suze. I hope your weight ends soon.
Me too. Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.